Jeffrey Bodin. Jeffrey Bodin for a 10:30 with Barbie.
Mr. Jeffrey, I thought your email said that you were not coming.
Yeah, my mother decided I had to come, and there was issues with that.
Okay.
She didn't contact you last night?
No.
Okay, well that's
Okay.
it's yeah. She's kind of having issues right now, I guess, and
Okay.
yeah. So
you're wanting to get back on the waiting list?
No, I'm not at all. Actually, she is demanding it, and there was deputies who responded yesterday and stuff. She's just kind of having a thing right now, so I'm supposed to, I guess, maybe go over more of paperwork with you, and peculiarities with maybe the status of this facility and which residents you have with on which disability and stuff. Maybe just talk about that so I can get more information to maybe present to her, because she doesn't seem convinced with what I've spoken to her before in the past, or with what I've gotten from the federal government and things like that. So she seems to want more information on that.
Okay. So we do take
Can I sit here?
Yes, sir. I'm sorry.
No. I didn't know if this was
We do take the Social Security disability.
Because that might not be the one that I'm on for most people reference to. It's usually separate, and because there's two types of Social Security. There's Social Security disability insurance, which most everybody pays into, which is illegal for me to draw anything from, including grants and other things. It's done that way to protect people like me from exploitation. And there's the original type of Social Security that came about in the 40s, which is the one I'm on, and it's for those who were disabled as a young child and never expected to work. And we don't actually get any subsidies or allotments from anything that's under the same financial pathway as the same pipeline as SSDI. So if there's a grant block, if there's a Freddie Mae or Fannie Mac thing, I don't get that. I also didn't get those things for educational scholarships. I wasn't allowed that. I wasn't allowed loans. I wasn't allowed grants. I wasn't allowed food allotments or stuff with books and pencils and things. Those things, because it's all separate. And from my understanding, with looking up this facility and the database for the housing and urban development with the feds, on their website, there's a search for the facilities, and the excluded from their listings on at least some of the pages, at least two on Tuesday. On Tuesday when I checked, it had I should have a picture. It has it excluded these. Let's see. It excluded properties part of HUD's public and Indian housing programs, including housing choice vouchers, project-based vouchers, or public housing, or participating in community development block grant programs, which I believe is the classification for this facility from when I looked it up. For that, because that was the one for the loans, and then the tax.
The tax credit,
low
income.
Yeah. That one I believe was the class name for that in their system, because I'll turn the brightness up. This is the database search, and there's only 4, and this one's not on that listing, unless these 4, one of them is the this facility, but a specific partition of it. Is that not the case?
I'm trying to, because we do. So you're saying you're not allowed to get a discount on rent?
Yes.
from your Social Security.
Correct, because I'm on a special
You're
title.
on a special thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's rare. There's not many people who are on, like I kind of mentioned, but didn't really provide citations in the email, for someone on SSI to have no supplemental insurance that they got like as a payout for like their parents' pensions or things like that, which my father doesn't have, which I don't have any family that has that could qualify me. That was already gone through with the feds when I got my fully favorable decision, and they already did the job. Tried to do the trial work experience with people in Slidell just to kind of humor me. Honestly, they knew it wasn't going to work, but they tried, and that didn't work either. So they basically fully exclude me now from any potentials for SSDI in the future, and I don't have any actual, because a lot of times you'll see SSI references supplemental security income, and because it's intended for you to have SSDI at the same time. If you have like multi-system organ failure, like you might have, I don't know if you have tenants who might have that, like have kidney issues and go in for dialysis a lot. I've met a driver through Medicaid who's had that situation, or like a kind of part-time thing. And I've met a couple other individuals with similar circumstances, because it's not that uncommon in this greater New Orleans area due to genetic things. And they get both, because they are capable of some work, and then the SSI keeps them on perpetual Medicaid. But for me, I don't have that SSDI like all normal working individuals are expected to have, so that I can't pull from Medicare, I can't pull from that large trust that is paid into. And most of the housing credits or discounts and things for rent come from that, or come from other non-just SSI things, because it's supposed to not be I'm not expected to keep pace with like rent increases and things of that nature, to not cause problems for a complex and things like that. Like a normal renter would have accesses to other credits, like they could get a credit card or something, or a loan. I'm not actually even allowed a lot of different types of loans and things, because I've tried. So like if something went wrong, or if something happened with me in like legal liabilities or things, it's counted as me under the United States, like them being, I'm a grantee for the United States as a whole, so it doesn't allow me the ability to do a lot of different things that a normal individual would have like access. So it's to prevent me from being exploited, and it's to prevent me from causing issues on like y'all and stuff, other complexes who might, not understand the peculiarities or have encountered someone like me. And things like if there's like a pool fee you guys might have or anything like that, those things are just not factored into the money I would get, because the money I get is straight from Treasury, and it doesn't increase past the regular things. So I don't get unemployment insurance. I don't get any other subsidies like that.
So you don't get like a 3% raise every year on Social Security or nothing?
I get that depending on if they actually give it. Sometimes the commander-in-chief has to decide if they want to actually give it or not. They always have, but there's the actual guaranteed raise isn't actually guaranteed for my type. It's just always done with the guaranteed raise, like the 3%, like you said. It usually just follows in line with that.
Yeah.
But there have been a few how it was explained to me by Social Security, there has been a few times where they just haven't increased because they had other things that they weren't allowed to issue like that increase for. But for the trust and stuff, they would have to increase, because that's within it as a whole. But I'm separate, so that might not always even be the case. So
Yeah.
it can't be expected to even keep up with inflation either in some years. So it's just all of those types of things. You see, some other states have their own programs for housing that are more in line with the original type of thing with my type of Social Security. Like I've heard from examples from New York and California how it was when I've been trying to figure out how to explain to like my parents, and but those were really old school types to where the rent couldn't change, and there couldn't be any other fees at all. Like you have individuals who would be living in a facility for 100 years, and they couldn't be filled or billed anything past a non-inflation value. So you'd have them in for like $50 and stuff, and it'd be not $50 now, and those facilities wouldn't get any other subsidy for them because that's how it was designed. And that's just not how it works anymore. It seems like to me, like every facility I've seen seems to be more like y'all's, to where they use the credits and the discounts for the rent and stuff like that I don't get access to for basically anything, because it would be nice to get those types of discounts and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But they don't even want me to pay for a lot of things because my parents are supposed to be doing it. Is how it's designed, but they don't. Which is a common, typical issue with my type of situation. I'm just talking to the judge and stuff. It's clear. It's like par for the course, basically, to have someone like me not have their caregiver actually do what they were supposed to do, like as you would for a child, because that's the expectation legally, and they just don't. They just kind of get out of it because it's a hard battle to fight.
Yeah.
And it could put me in like more harm and stuff. So it's just kind of like one of those things where they just recommend to not do it, or to not pursue certain things, even with law enforcement. Like last night, it's just there's not that much education on, I'd say, this as a subject, and because it's so niche, there's just so few people like me around anymore that can't work and can't get any other assistance and are denied charity because the charity can't give stuff to someone like me either, who, if they've received the same kind of grants from the government, because it would be basically allowing someone like my parents to defraud others and like siphon money from a charity instead of doing it themselves, basically, when there is no hardship demonstrated, which there hasn't been for my family.
Okay.
And so because of that, they don't want. It's basically like to keep small charities from just being drained, because they're not around to pay for everything for me, kind of a deal, because there's extremely high costs associated with people like me, because we're usually terminally ill and things like that, like me with cancer and stuff. But most of us are research subjects, so we're typically valued for that, for being so rare.
Yeah.
But that doesn't actually give us any money or anything, because that would also have medical implications to where we get billed for medical stuff. Like, I've had issues with that in the past with ambulance rides and things. Like, they thought that they could bill me, which was actually legal for them, and then they fixed it. But that was something I had to get escalated to, like, their financial top, basically, for their hospital. And then they knew immediately what the issue was. They were like, oh, no, you're never supposed to have been billed. Because most places can get a credit for us individually for medical stuff through Medicaid, to where they can just draw down on taxes. So it would be like double billing, and that's why they are very strict about that. But this type of facility, when I checked with Medicaid, with the Louisiana Department of Health, to try to ask, can these like facilities do the same thing like my dentist can do and like my other doctors can do, if they want to, and don't want to and don't have the profitability to like actually pay for a special like Medicaid government biller type of a role. And then they said no, housing doesn't count. Same with food, so they can't work things out that way either. So I just wanted to know more about maybe the specifics, if you have any files or anything that you could show me or give me a copy of, so that I could then at least forward that to the HUD when I'm talking to them, because it's kind of a difficult thing to even get subject broached, because until like they finally figure it all out,
Yeah.
whenever, because it could be something like y'all are registered a certain way, and it's as simple as them showing a database thing, and then they can show that to a judge or something, and then I can get a ruling showing that no, I can't be here, so I can figure something else out with my family. But they're kind of fixated on here, especially my mother, who's, well, the police had to respond. So, I mean, she's not doing very good, I guess, probably.
Yeah.
She is demanding that I sign up, and I know that there's no indication to me that it wouldn't be fraud on my part to sign up here, knowing everything I know and trying to double check and things like that. Like, maybe I could just be wrong, and there's some other ridiculous circumstance that I haven't been informed of over the course of these years and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And but I kind of doubt that. But I'm open to the possibility if it's proven, that it's not. But it has only so far been proven otherwise to me with everything. So I just want to make sure that I'm not gonna be hit with a charge of some sort, because I know that it's not. I'm not supposed to be even on wait lists or even applying for things that I know I'm not going to get because I'm disqualified. Like that was the case with SNAP. They had stated to me that if I keep applying, because I applied a bunch of times, after they had gone to an unappealable ruling, or for anything else that would be like SNAP, which I'd get some sort of misdemeanor felony, because it would be it costs a lot of resources to keep going through that motion.
Yeah.
And that's just not acceptable. So I don't want to. I don't want to keep that going, because that's been the case in the past. My parents demanding I do that because they don't really understand, and I don't really understand, or at least I didn't. And but once I am informed, I can't really keep the procedure continuing ad nauseum. Like that's just because it seems like my parents want me gone, and they want me somewhere else, and they're just looking for the easiest way to do that, and it's hard to kind of argue against them, mm-hmm. even with law enforcement or a judge, whenever there's not some sort of official thing that says he doesn't qualify this, because then they could turn around on them and say no, you can't. You can no longer harass him with constantly demanding he show up to a meeting that was scheduled without his consent initially, and because of her behavior with that and actions with that, I didn't know she was going to be scheduling a meeting with you. I told her that this kind of came out of nowhere to me.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of sick of that. I guess it's pretty stressful.
Well, when you talk to the Social Security people that were telling you that you're limited on what you can do?
More like the HUD people.
HUD people?
Yeah.
So, did they suggest a place for you to live?
No, they said I don't qualify for any of these types of places. I'm not supposed to be living on my own. It's kind of the whole point.
Ah.
And my parents are mad about that, and she doesn't want to be a caregiver, but she's been legally ruled as such, and she doesn't have a choice about that. But a lot of people don't understand that relationship, that yes, you do have to take care of your kid for their whole life, and the whole life of you, even if they turn 18, and that nothing changes just because they don't feel like it anymore, kind of a deal.
Yeah.
And it is. I've had difficulty expressing that even to judges, basically, because it's more of like people believing that they can abandon and it cause the harm to their child, and not understand that no, you're just expected not to do that, and people don't react well. and it's kind of a hard thing to fight against, like, so I don't really do that. But I'm not expected to be living on my own, because it would be, or at least basically living on without a caregiver. And the state has already ruled that I don't get one because my mother's alive. And if she dies, my father's alive. Yeah. And if he dies, my sister's alive. And even if she lives in another state, she's still alive, and her money is still around. And they would take that, basically, and to where it would end up being more only survivable for her and her possible family in the future to move here, basically.
Yeah.
And so they basically has it constructed to where there's no possibility of your family just abandoning you and still staying within the United States, unless they're very, very rich and they can move to a different state or something and can pay for someone to caregive. My family can actually do that. They just don't want to, and they're trying to do everything they can not to have that be a possibility. But those were suggested as suggestions. It was, okay, buy him a place, because the purpose is for me to own it legally, so that it works within the structure of Social Security. Because for me, it's designed to where if the place I'm living at is mine, that doesn't count against me ever. Or so you're supposed to be just sheltering in place while social services and the resources available from the federal government branch out from you. Because they're so massive, and it's so much resources that they don't want you just picking up and moving because of the whims of someone's family. So they make it they throw money at you if you're gonna, or in return, in terms of like getting things done, not as a check to you, but like as in us moving mountains for certain things, to where it would be that they're offering like $14,000 a month is what is allotted to every single person on SSI, I guess, from according to my insurance's representative that they sent with me to the judge. It's available per month just to pay someone to do my mother's job, basically, but the state won't allow someone to be assigned to me because they can't. They would lose other block grant funding automatically from the government, because it would be seen like it's stealing, literally, and from the federal government at the state level, which is an issue. So they can't allow it, so they have to go by the very stringent rule set of my mother's alive. It's her job. She has no actual need to work, or my family has no need for the money. There's nothing that can be demonstrated up to the otherwise, and they had the full audit of their financials and stuff. I don't even have access to that. I don't know the numbers, but I know enough of the numbers from the past and from what I was provided from a small extent from SNAP to know that, like, I think that the numbers from SNAP were low for that was like 2017 maybe, or 2016, and it was just probably 300 to 500,000 gross, and I think that would have been low and probably was drawn down by other medical expenses, but they go off of that. So it kind of I never was supposed to be looking into places like this from the get-go. My family just doesn't want me there anymore. They don't want to do it, basically. They haven't been taking me to my appointments. I've been having to get Medicaid transport, which isn't actually supposed to even take me as long as they're available. Yeah. And they're always available. But they basically were waiving that just because of the police involvement and stuff, because of the danger. They kind of just said, no, it's fine. Well, they're not available, because them being made available would be escalating the situation and be dangerous. So, because they basically decided not to take me, and they did that multiple times this year already. That I missed a bunch of very important appointments, and someone with cancer, that's a big deal, So,
but you would think they would think, get you somebody that would take care of you. I mean, if you're in a bad situation with your family.
That's just the issue. They can't. The state can't do anything. No one really can do anything until my parents are, I guess, not available somehow. And I don't really know what that would be. I'm assuming it would be imprisonment, but they don't really want that either. You know, they want to avoid that since my parents could still be the best option for me with outcomes and things. It just seems like nothing ever proceeds, no matter how many times the police are called or how bad things get.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, I hate that for you.
So with HUD, at least specifically, I was on the multi-family housing property search,